Hello, myself Sunil R Nair, and here basically we are talking about one topic that is currencies. In currencies, basically we are talking about one topic that is ideas, and ideas are basically by default converted into global warming. Basically, that's basically the creation basically, and they are basically solving it also basically in the form of lots of solutions basically. In this basically, this is also one of the solution basically, that is a cricket creation basically. Sorry, not cricket creation basically, cities creation basically. And in city creation basically, the sports creation is also basically one of the creation. Why? Because the World Bank has already approved it basically. Sports is the one of the investment basically, which is going to collect the money that basically is approved by the World Bank basically. That is approved by the World Bank. That is already approved basically. So sports is also basically one of the investment basically. So sports basically is 100% going to be in city basically. That is not going to end. Whatever things basically happen, if basically ends, then entire creation will end. That is mostly the entire world system basically will end. By chance basically if it will end, sports, but mostly 99% it will not end, but by chance possibilities are there basically, any possibilities are there. So you have to play with any possibility and you have to keep all possibilities basically, because if by chance cricket or sports basically will end basically, then basically for that also basically the World Bank basically might have created the option basically, that will be the investment only basically. But few things only cricket sports group can do, another team basically, another group basically can't do basically. That type of activities are also basically there ne? In cricket basically, in sports basically. So like this, sports basically ground is always there in the city basically. Like this, if you are creating city, then basically power companies are there, energy companies by default are there, but that basically not that data basically are not taken by the world basically. Reason, after creation of the human needs basically, if they had taken basically, then basically that's, it might possible that they might be testing the data basically. If they have not taken, then basically it is going to be used for human needs creation purpose, and then basically people eat that data, and then basically the people eats basically that human needs, and then only basically the power basically connects to that city basically, and then the city basically gets data and basically gives the data to the rest of country. So like this also basically things are basically there. So you can just imagine basically the things basically which is happening basically. So it's, lots of people says that yeah, city creation actually it's very dangerous city. One example of city creation I have already taken, then also I will take here. Corona city. In Corona city basically one person told that basically we are basically creating one city basically. In that city basically we are planning to do lots of antibiotics basically. For example, in that city basically, which kind of people basically is going to get disease, that basically is not fixed, right basically. So you have to create the antibiotic of malaria, you have to create the antibiotic of corona, you have to create the antibiotic of corona pneumonia, corona chikungunya, normal chikungunya, malaria chikungunya, each and everything basically you have to create. If you are not creating, then basically it's going to create into the problem basically. It's going to be into problem basically. So that type of thing basically has are disclosed, right basically. So whenever the city basically is creation happening basically, that time basically the each and every things basically are taken into the factor basically, then only basically the city creation happens. And this basically directly connects to the glacier basically, because in glacier basically lots of condition basically has put in, lots of possibility has put in. Means the glacier basically is created on the base of certain possibilities and certain condition basically, that basically I want to say. And glacier is created by one of the nuclear company also, and that is basically controlled by one of the satellite group also basically, you can say. And glacier is created basically, that is 100% sure basically. And glacier is the indication of that if anything is happening to the glacier basically, that means this area basically is having some problem in the energy side, so please basically correct it basically. If up to that level basically the glacier, up to the level basically the glacier things basically has reached, that means lots of big problem basically might also occur. So big level decision basically are taken related to the that particular object basically. So city creation basically is a big level issue also basically, that also you can say basically, big level issue basically, that also you can say basically. So city creation is not a normal process basically, that you can say basically, it's a huge level process basically. And city creation process basically comes into the chain basically when the entire creation is done, entire human needs is converted into, the city is converted into the human needs, then basically used, and then basically the power data are basically connected. So lots of people says that basically this is also one of the possibilities, and lots of people says that also basically that whenever the city basically was created, and it was basically when it was getting created basically on creation base basically, the status basically was on creation base, that time only basically the data was submitted to the power supply company, and that time basically the chain was basically created basically. So like this also basically lots of people basically says that basically. So it's a basically possibilities basically, you can say the possibilities are basically there basically. So possibilities basically you can't say, and the possibilities are equal to glacier creation basically. So whatever things basically are created in the glacier basically, that all are basically the possibilities. Bollywood group basically has created more than 5 crore human souls, and basically the population basically has increased up to that level, and that basically group basically has created staying there, this, that basically. So that is also basically one of the glacier data basically. One city created like this basically, the count of city basically if reaches to this level basically, count of city basically, then basically the glacier basically is going to create problems. So like this basically there are more than 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh basically, 12 lakh basically, 13 lakh basically, more than 15 crore basically, you can say, or you can say that 150, 200, 300 crore, 900 crore possibilities basically are there on the base of the glacier basically is created basically. As the human basically population basically, you can say 900 multiplied by 6 crore, so you can just imagine the population basically. Up to that level basically the conditions basically are into the glacier basically, and in city creation basically these all are basically condition are also basically taken. In next video where basically we are going to see a little bit more about this all things basically, that are this all things basically up to this level.